Okay, in this video, we're going over the crazy news about UFC 313 that has come out. Dan Hooker's out. This is a little late, but I wanted to see who would be the replacement, and now we have that news. It turns out it's Rafael Fiziev, which, out of all the options, this was my favorite, and I'll get to why. We also have Khalil Rountree versus Jamal Hill. This is exactly what I wanted for light heavyweight for these two fighters. It's perfect. I love this matchup, and I'll get to who I think is going to win. This is a very tricky one. Jose Aldo versus Aben Zahabi, which I think is the dumbest shit ever, and we keep dogging on Jose Aldo for no reason. There must be something from behind the scenes because they treat Jose Aldo like shit, and I have no idea why, and I hate it. But we'll get to that. And then there's Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. He called his shot and he gets what he wants. So Gene Silva gets exactly what he wants in Bryce Mitchell. And yes, we'll start with this. Dan Hooker is out of 313 due to a hand injury. And we had these three people that wanted a shot at it. Renato, Gamrot, and Rafael Fiziev. They all wanted a shot at Gaethje for this matchup. And they decided to go with Rafael Fiziev, which is amazing to me. Out of all these three picks, Renato Moicano just he got pretty destroyed by Islam, so I don't really want to see him in there really quick right now, to be honest. It makes sense for him to be, but at the same time, Dan Hooker versus Gaethje is a fight that you know is going to be a war. You know it's going to be the most exciting fight of the night if Pereira's isn't. So you want it to match that kind of level. And Renato Moicano and Gamrot do not match that level of war. You're going to get a war no matter what. Fiziev is the only one that does. They already did this fight once. It was a war then. It'll be a war this time. Fiziev, and this one's very interesting because Gaethje just got chinned, and Fiziev is coming off of an ACL tear. I'm pretty sure it was an ACL tear, and he's been out for a year and a half. So, and I thought Rafael Fiziev won the first fight. So, I don't know really who has the better shot of winning this. I looked it up, and this is different for all people, but ACL tears usually take 6 to 8 months to recover, and then you need a training camp. He's been out for a pretty long time, so he should be good injury-wise. Is he going to be the best version of himself going into this fight? Well, obviously not. It's super short notice. But is Gaethje? He's going to have a camp, but he's also coming off of a wicked knockout. And Rafael Fiziev has a good amount of power in his strikes, and he likes to fucking dogfight. That's where the interesting part comes into this. I'm glad it's a rematch between these two. It's going to be a super exciting fight. And now there's different kind of story going into this one. So you don't really know if it's going to go the same way. And it's probably not. I honestly am going to guess either a Fiziev knockout or a Gaethje decision. In this one, I'm a little bit more confident that Gaethje's going to win this one over Hooker now. When Hooker was fighting, I picked Hooker clear. But now that it's Gaethje Fiziev, I'm not hating the idea that Gaethje will get the decision win or find the chin of Fiziev somehow. But I'm going to go with Fiziev by knockout, to be honest. I don't like that Gaethje's been chinned. I think Fiziev's going to come out hard. I think he's going to come out really wanting to prove himself. I think he's going to chin Gaethje. I think his chin's gone at this point, to be honest. I know that's a risky take, but that's just what I think. So I think we're going to go with that. Sucks for Dan Hooker, though. Fractured his hand in sparring, and he's out. What we do with Dan Hooker after this is a good question. It kind of frees up something for Poirier, maybe, for Holloway, maybe, for even maybe it's a Poirier, maybe even an Arman. It frees up a lot of different matchups you can do with Hooker, which make, to be honest, a little bit more sense than Gaethje. So I'm cool with it, to be honest. This is cool. I like Fiziev a lot, and I'm glad he's making his entrance, and I'm glad he's not waiting so long if we can just see him in there. It's a little weird having the 11 versus number 3, but who cares, really? Super short notice for Fiziev. We'll see if he can get it done. Next, Khalil Rountree versus Jamal Hill. This is the exact fight I wanted for light heavyweight for these two. I predicted it was going to happen. It's what's happening. Very glad. This is very tricky for Jamal, for both of them, to be honest. Khalil Rountree put on a pretty crazy, weirdly good performance against Pereira. I'm not trying to glaze Pereira, but he has proven to be levels above everybody on the feet. And Khalil really held up strong against Pereira until the fourth. Won the first two, probably maybe the first three. Very, very good. Jamal Hill coming off a knockout against Yuri Prohaska, coming off a knockout after that, coming off a knockout against Pereira. Rountree's coming off just a war against Pereira. I'm going to guess that Khalil Rountree can find his chin. He's very powerful. He's very fucking strong. But Jamal Hill he still has dynamic striking and good ability, and he's also a lot taller and has more range. Which wasn't a problem, to be honest, for Khalil in terms of Pereira. But he is a southpaw. It's a different fight. It's a different style. After what both of these people... Damn, I'm stuttering. After what both of these people did in their last performance, I'm going to go with Khalil Rountree by knockout in this fight. I think he's going to be able to blitz in like he did against Pereira. And I don't trust Jamal Hill's chin anymore against these big power hitters like Khalil, like Yuri, like Pereira. That's what I think. I'm thinking that Khalil Rountree is going to chin him. Which, yeah, I think that'll work. We've already went over that. Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. I don't really know. Probably Onama is probably going to win this. Chikadze is probably out the door to me. Pereira Magomedov. So Michael Pereira. I don't like this really because Michael Pereira should have gotten a more hyped up matchup. Abus Magomedov has proven that he kind of sucks. It doesn't. I guess this is the battle of zero gas tanks, so that's cool. But I'll probably go Pereira. I think he can be able to chin Magomedov earlier than... They'll both gas out, so who cares? So I'm going to go Pereira to chin him early. Iliskarov versus Muniz. This is a cool one, I guess. Iliskarov is coming off a knockout loss. I think he's also coming off a knockout loss. So I'll go with Iliskarov. I think he's going to have a little bit more momentum and he's younger. So yeah, next. Jose Aldo versus Amin Zahabi. So this sucks. This fight's so dumb. Why do you give Jose Aldo Jonathan Martinez, and then you give him Mario Batista, and then you give him Amin Zahabi? When he won the Mario Batista fight, he won the Johnny Martinez fight. Why are you giving him Amin Zahabi? I know he didn't actually win the Mario Batista fight. Everybody thinks he did. And also Mario Batista's gay and boring. Why do you give him another up-and-comer that's also boring? He's not boring as a fighter. He kind of... But... Mainly, he's no name. Give Jose Aldo a legend. You say you respect the legend so much, but then you do this to Jose Aldo, one of your biggest legends. You give Stipe a title shot instantly after 3 years of not being there. Jose Aldo retires for like a year. He comes back ready, beats Jonathan Martinez, and then you give him Mario Batista. Arguably beats Mario Batista. You agree that he beat him, and then you give him Amin Zahabi. What did he do wrong? I don't understand. It's so stupid, but... We get it in Canada for some reason. Because Amin Zahabi's apparently from Canada. I don't know. But come on. It doesn't make any sense. Give Jose Aldo someone cool. He's probably going to... I'm honestly going to go Jose Aldo in this matchup. I still think Jose Aldo is very fucking good. And if you don't hold him against the cage, you're going to get outstruck. I just think that's the case. And I don't think Amin Zahabi will be able to do that. Or if he... Shit. Maybe everybody's kind of figured out the blueprint and it's just going to hold him up against the cage the whole time. That's also a huge possibility. So whatever comes first, I guess. But I think Jose Aldo will probably win this if it stays on the feet. If you find a way to hold him against the cage, which people have found a way to now, then Amin Zahabi will probably win a boring decision. But considering what it did to Mario Batista's reputation, I hope Amin Zahabi wises up and doesn't try to do that. I hope Amin tries to strike with him. But everybody can try to strike with Jose Aldo. You will get fucked up. And you have to either weather it or hold him against the cage, I guess. Because nobody can really take it except for, I guess, Peter Yan. So, yeah. Next, final one. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. So, Gene Silva calls him out. Gene Silva gets it. Instantly, almost. No thought about it at all. Right Tuesday, they make it. Instantly. I really like it. This is what I wanted for Gene Silva going forward anyway. I think this is going to be a hype matchup. Of the build-up is going to be sick, to be honest. It's going to be a dope build-up. 314, okay. UFC 314, cool. So, yeah. I think, obviously, I think Gene Silva is going to knock him out. Bryce Mitchell has a kryptonite to bald dudes with a ton of power, and Gene Silva is coming off a ton of knockouts. Bryce Mitchell's coming off a slam knockout win over Kron Gracie. I think every single sign points to Gene Silva knocking out Bryce Mitchell. We haven't really seen a ton of Gene Silva's takedown defense, but we know it's good. We know he trains with the fighting nerds. We know they're good. I think he's good enough to stuff Bryce Mitchell's takedowns at this point. And if he finds a shot, which he will, he'll chin Bryce Mitchell. After what he had to go through against Josh Emmett, he will chin Bryce Mitchell. And I bet the UFC's really regretting making Kron Gracie versus Bryce Mitchell and giving him that favor of a matchup for that one. Now after the recent stuff, the recent podcast of Bryce Mitchell, Silva, they are kind of feeding him to the wolves now, which I really like for Silva, regardless of the controversy. I like this matchup in general, and I want Silva to win just because I like Silva's, and he has a ton of hype and a ton of aura. So yeah, those are the matchups that have been announced. Super sick, super excited. And yeah, I'll see you soon.